The Legend of Trione Daily and the Whispering Tree. Long ago, in the heart of the Great Rift Valley, there was a village nestled between rolling hills and winding rivers. It was a place where the wind spoke in whispers, and the mountains stood tall like ancient guardians. In this village lived a young man named Trione Daily, a 23-year-old with a gift unlike any other. Trione could speak the languages of people, animals, and even the elements. Born with the ability to understand and converse in English, Kalenjin, Swahili, and Lithuanian, he was known not just for his words, but for the way he listened. The villagers often marveled at how he could calm the wildest of beasts, or call birds down from the sky with nothing more than a few gentle phrases. His linguistic abilities were a gift from the spirits of the land, passed down through generations of his family, but in him they were especially strong. He was beloved in the village for his kindness and wisdom, and people often sought his counsel. One evening, as the sun dipped low on the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amber and gold, Trione sat by the river, listening to the babbling waters and the songs of birds returning to their nests. The village elder, Kiplagat, approached him slowly, leaning heavily on his cane. His face was etched with age and wisdom, his eyes deep with stories untold. "Trione, my son," the elder began, his voice raspy but steady, "there is something I must tell you. A great trial awaits you." Trione looked up, curiosity sparking in his eyes. "What kind of trial, Mazie?" The elder sat down beside him, gazing into the flowing river. "In the deepest part of the forest, beyond the hills, lies the Whispering Tree. It is said to be as old as time itself, and it holds the wisdom of the ancestors. But for many years it has grown silent. The spirits say that only one who can speak the language of the world, both seen and unseen, can awaken the tree once more." Trione's heart raced. He had heard tales of the Whispering Tree as a child, stories passed down around the fire on cold nights. It was said to be a sacred tree, capable of granting great knowledge to those who could hear its whispers, but no one had seen the tree for generations. "I don't know if I am the one you speak of, Mazie," Trione said, his voice filled with doubt. The elder placed a hand on Trione's shoulder. "You are the one, my son. The spirits have chosen you. Tomorrow you must journey into the forest and find the tree. But be warned, the forest is alive, and it will test you in ways you cannot imagine." That night, Trione barely slept. His mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and fears. He knew that the journey would be dangerous, but something deep within him, a whisper in his heart, told him that he was meant for this. At dawn, he packed a small bag with food and water and set off into the forest, guided only by the directions Kiplagat had given him. The forest was dense, with trees towering high above, their branches weaving together to block out the sky. The air was thick with the scent of earth and moss, and the only sounds were the occasional rustle of leaves and the distant call of animals. As Trione walked, he began to notice that the forest was not as silent as it seemed. There were voices, soft, almost imperceptible, whispering around him. He listened closely, switching between the languages he knew, trying to make sense of the murmurs. It was then that he realized. The forest was speaking in the language of the wind, a language that few could understand. Trione closed his eyes and let the wind guide him, following its soft breath deeper into the forest. For hours he walked until finally he reached a clearing. In the center stood a tree unlike any he had ever seen. It was massive, with roots that stretched deep into the earth and branches that reached high into the sky. Its bark was silver, shimmering in the soft light, and its leaves glowed faintly, as though lit from within. This was the Whispering Tree. Trione approached slowly, his heart pounding in his chest. He placed a hand on the tree's bark, and instantly he felt a surge of energy course through him. The tree was alive with voices. thousands of them, speaking in a cacophony of languages. Some he recognized, others he didn't. "I have come to awaken you," Trione whispered in Kalenjin, his native tongue. But the tree did not respond. He tried again, this time in Swahili, then in English, and finally in Lithuanian. Still, the tree remained silent. Frustrated, Trione sat beneath the tree, trying to understand what he was doing wrong. As he sat there, the wind began to pick up, swirling around him in a gentle dance, and then it hit him. The tree wasn't waiting for him to speak in a single language. It was waiting for him to speak in the language of all things, the language of the heart. Taking a deep breath, Trione closed his eyes and let go of the words he had been taught. He listened to the wind, the earth, the sky, and the whispers of the ancestors. He allowed his heart to speak, not in words, but in feelings, in the deep, unspoken connection he had with the world around him. And then, the tree began to hum. Its branches swayed gently, and the whispers grew louder, clearer. The leaves shimmered brighter, and a soft light enveloped the entire clearing. Trione felt the presence of the ancestors around him, their voices mingling with his own. The tree had awakened, and with it came a flood of knowledge, stories of the past, wisdom of the present, and visions of the future. The whispering tree spoke to him, not in any language he knew, but in a way that transcended words. It showed him the interconnectedness of all life, the balance that existed between nature and man, and the importance of listening, not just with ears, but with the soul. When the light faded and the tree grew still once more, Trione opened his eyes. He felt different, changed. The weight of the world's knowledge rested within him. But it was not a burden. It was a gift. He returned to the village a hero, not because he had conquered the forest or tamed the tree, but because he had listened. From that day on, Trione became a bridge between the old and the new, between the seen and the unseen. He shared the wisdom of the whispering tree with his people, guiding them with the same kindness and understanding that had always defined him. And though many years passed, the story of Trione Daily and the whispering tree became a legend, passed down through generations as a reminder that the greatest gift one could have was not the ability to speak, but the ability to listen.